I have not worn this Hot Topic Divergent shirt since I was 13, but it's time to bring it back. Hello, my name is Elise, and this is my booktube announcement for my new book club called the Rewind Book Club. Do you remember that time in the early 2010s where you just could not escape the okay in the black and white clouds? Or maybe the whole Team Peeta versus Team Gale debate? Or if you're into vampires, the Team Jacob versus Team Edward? Maybe you were on Tumblr and saw all those fancy edits with the YA book stills from the movies. Or maybe you cared about the Maze Runner. I still have a huge Maze Runner poster right next to me that you can't see. And my favorite, the era where books were so proudly lacking diversity that the movies had the same actors recycled over and over again because all of the characters looked the same. You know that era. The early 2010s definitely had its issues, and I'm not saying publishing is perfect now, but this was the era that I grew up in when I started reading. I think I started reading YA around 10 years old or 11 years old, which was pretty much the height of all of the dystopian sci-fi YA books that were so popular at the time. I know a lot of you on BookTube and in the book community in general have probably also grown up with these books, or at least have been exposed to them in some manner. So this book club is going to be a rewind back to the past when books were all about Divergent and The Hunger Games and The Fault in Our Stars and The Maze Runner and City of Bones and all of those books. So I am the creator of this book club, but I will have 8 additional co-hosts that will help me facilitate the club. They are Lily, Dimitri, Maury, Kaylee, Sasha, Danny, Darian, and Sid. All of their information will be linked down below if you'd like to follow their Twitter accounts or their main platform for posting out books. So just for some basics for the book club, we will be reading 1 book per month like most book clubs. We actually have a huge list right now of all the books we could think of that were super popular in this era, especially middle grade books and young adult books. Every month we're going to use a random number generator to pick 1 book off of this list. We might change it up a bit and use a random number generator to choose a couple books and then run a poll on Twitter to see what everyone else would prefer to read. Furthermore, we're also going to have some reading sprints hosted throughout the month. There are for sure going to be reading sprints on my channel, but if any of the other co-hosts want to host sprints, there'll be some more there and we'll put announcements out, and there will also be some Twitter reading sprints if anyone would prefer to participate that way. And then, depending on when everyone else is free, we're going to have a live show either at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. We'll use this live show to talk about the book that we just read. And this will be a space for people to just discuss the book in general. If you somehow missed out on this book and you're reading it for the first time, or if this is a book someone is rereading for the first time in like a decade, we'll discuss that too. Any general thoughts, it'll be fun. Please join us. And then the last little bit about this book club is that most of these super popular YA books and some middle grade books were eventually turned into movies. If anyone is interested, we were thinking of setting a specific date and time where everyone could watch the movies, probably on their own, and then live tweet them with a hashtag. Let me know if anyone is interested in that option because I always think it's fun to compare the book to a movie. If you're interested in this book club, we do have a Twitter now. The username is Rewind Book Club, and I would love if you follow it because that way you will see any live updates that we'll be tweeting out. You can also incorporate the hashtag Rewind Book Club in your tweets if you're tweeting about any of these nostalgia throwback books, and that way we can easily locate your tweets and give them a retweet or a like or respond or anything like that. We'll show the random generator that we'll use to choose the book club pick of the month through our live shows that'll take place either at the beginning or the end of the month, but we'll also tweet out the month's pick through the Twitter account. When the book club's monthly pick is tweeted out, I'll also add a link to all the trigger warnings for the book. If you read the trigger warnings for the book, or maybe even just the synopsis of the book, and it doesn't interest you, feel free to join any reading sprints anyways. You can read whatever. It's cool. We just want to have you all. Also, regarding the monthly book pick, if you have any suggestions for middle grade or young adult books that were super popular in the early 2010s that you'd like us to add to our list, please let us know. That way they'll be on the list as options before we use the random number generator. Do keep in mind though that we are trying to choose super popular books because that way the book club will be more accessible. More popular books tend to be available in other countries, so that's what we want to aim for because we want everyone to have the opportunity to join. Also, this era is notorious for not publishing or promoting books that contain any kind of diversity. In other words, most of the authors or the characters in these books that became super popular and successful are by or contain characters that are white, cisgender, heterosexual, able-bodied, anything like that. So if you do have recommendations for books that are on the more popular side, because again, we do want this book club to be accessible, please tweet them our way so we can add them to our list. So that is all the basic information that you need to know. Check out the description down below in case you missed anything. But now let me announce our very first book club pick for March. So to choose the book for March, me and the co-hosts all compiled a list of YA titles, like I said we did, and we used the random number generator. Somehow, the first book ended up being The Hunger Games, which I would argue is the most successful and popular book from this era. The Hunger Games was incredibly influential. Just about every single person in the book community has probably heard of The Hunger Games, and it totally changed literature for young adults at this time. So that is going to be our very first book for this book club. Please check out the Twitter if you want to see any live updates, and let us know if you'll be reading The Hunger Games with us, and maybe we will consider setting up a specific date and time that we could all watch the movie and live tweet it with the hashtag. And that is the end of this announcement. Thank you so much for watching. I am so excited for this book club, especially since this era of books has completely shaped my love of reading. And a decade later, I still haven't escaped the young adult genre. So I hope all of you are joining us too. Let me know if you're going to be reading The Hunger Games with us, and I hope to see you through some reading sprints and hopefully the live show. See you next time, and may the odds be ever in your favor. I have way more of these Hot Topic fandom shirts than I want to admit. I have not pulled them out of my closet since 8th grade until right now. But I will admit that I have a huge Maze Runner poster that sits right by my bookshelf. So y'all did not know that was right next to me every time I film a video.